The United States Army operates approximately 485,000 active personnel, with 336,000 in National Guard and 189,000 in Army Reserve, a ground combat budget exceeding $180 billion annually, and equipment inventories including over 6,000 tanks and 40,000 armored vehicles. This is every major weapon system the Army operates, and whether any adversary possesses capability to withstand American firepower. We start with the armor that defines ground dominance. M1A2 Abrams. The main battle tank mounting a 120mm smoothbore gun, composite armor incorporating depleted uranium, and one 500-horsepower turbine engine that drinks fuel at rates that would bankrupt smaller militaries. The SEPV-3 variant includes Trophy Active Protection System that detects and destroys incoming anti-tank missiles and rockets before they hit the tank. Proven in combat, where Trophy intercepted dozens of projectiles that would have penetrated armor. With thermal imaging, digital fire control, and armor packages that stop most anti-tank weapons, Abrams tanks engage and destroy enemy armor at ranges exceeding 3,000 meters in conditions where opposing forces can't effectively return fire. The Army operates approximately 2,500 Abrams in active service, with thousands more in storage. Against peer adversaries with modern tanks, Abrams crews rely on superior optics, crew training, and fire control that puts first-round hits on target while enemy tanks are still acquiring. The fuel consumption is legendary. The turbine engine runs on jet fuel, diesel, or gasoline and consumes it at rates measured in gallons per mile, rather than miles per gallon. Logistics trains exist specifically to keep Abrams tanks fueled and operational, because running out of gas in combat means multi-million-dollar paperweights. M1A1 Abrams. The earlier variant that remains in service with National Guard and Marine Corps units, lacking some electronics and armor improvements, of M1A2 but maintaining the fundamental capability of destroying enemy armor, with 120mm guns. These are being upgraded or retired as M1A2 production continues. M2 Bradley. The infantry fighting vehicle carrying 6 infantry plus crew, mounting 25mm Bushmaster autocannons and Tau anti-tank missiles while providing protection against artillery fragments and small arms. Bradleys deploy with mechanized infantry, providing protected mobility and organic firepower that destroys light armor and suppresses enemy positions. The 25mm gun kills infantry fighting vehicles, armored personnel carriers, and soft-skinned vehicles while the TOW missiles engage tanks from standoff range. If you served in mechanized infantry, you spent countless hours in Bradley back hatches, conducting mounted patrols, movement to contact, and deliberate attacks where dismounting under fire while the vehicle provides suppression becomes muscle memory. The aluminum armor means protection against fragments but vulnerability to heavy weapons. RPGs penetrate, and IEDs in Iraq destroyed. Bradleys that hit buried explosives, reactive armor tiles, and underbody improvements address some vulnerabilities, but fundamental design remains. From the 1980s, M3 Bradley, the cavalry variant configured for reconnaissance rather than infantry transport, carrying additional TOW missiles and scouts, instead of dismounts. These conduct screening, reconnaissance, and security missions for armored formations. Stryker, the 8-wheeled armored vehicle family that provides rapid deployment capability with better strategic mobility than tracked vehicles. Stryker brigades can deploy globally faster than heavy armor, conducting operations in urban terrain and restricted environments where M1 Abrams tanks would struggle. The baseline infantry carrier variant holds 9 soldiers plus crew, with applique armor packages providing protection against small arms, artillery fragments, and some anti-tank weapons. Stryker brigades include variants mounting 105mm guns, mortars, anti-tank missiles, engineers, and medical facilities, entire combined arms formations on wheeled chassis. Iraq and Afghanistan proved Stryker's work in counterinsurgency, providing protection and mobility that Humvees lacked. Against peer adversaries with modern anti-tank weapons, the question becomes whether protection suffices when RPG, 2-9 rockets and advanced missiles can penetrate applique armor. Stryker Dragoon, the variant mounting 30mm autocannons in remote weapon stations, providing organic firepower that 12.7mm machine guns couldn't deliver. These engage light armor and fortified positions with high explosive rounds. M113, the Vietnam-era armored personnel carrier that somehow remains in service in support roles, despite being obsolete for frontline combat. Aluminum armor provides minimal protection, but these conduct logistics, command post, and support missions where threats are reduced. The Army is finally retiring these after 6 decades of service. AMPV, Armored Multipurpose Vehicle, the replacement for M113 based on Bradley chassis, providing modern protected mobility for mission command, medical evacuation, mortar carriers, and general-purpose roles. These are entering service gradually as M113 fleets are retired. JLTV, Joint Light Tactical Vehicle, the successor to Humvees, designed from the ground up to survive IEDs, mines, and small arms fire while maintaining off-road mobility. After decades of bolting armor onto Humvees that were never designed for combat, JLTVs provide actual protection in vehicle-sized packages that can be transported by helicopter or cargo aircraft. Every Army installation has hundreds conducting training, patrols, and logistics. HMMWV, Humvee, the light tactical vehicle that served for decades in roles from cargo transport to weapons platform to ambulance. Up-armored variants provided some protection in Iraq and Afghanistan, but fundamental design limitations meant these were vulnerable to IEDs and ambushes. JLTVs are replacing these in combat roles, though Humvees remain in service for logistics and training. M1A2 Recovery Vehicle, the tracked armored recovery vehicle that tows disabled tanks, recovers stuck vehicles, and conducts battlefield repairs under fire. When M1 Abrams break down or get immobilized, M1A2 crews recover them, while artillery lands and small arms fire impacts around recovery operations. M1070 Heavy Equipment Transporter, the semi-truck that hauls M1 Abrams tanks on trailers, because driving tanks hundreds of miles on roads destroys tracks, transmissions, and consumes ridiculous fuel quantities. Strategic movements use HETs to preserve tank readiness for actual combat, rather than road marches. Moving on to artillery that provides the fire-supporting ground operations. M109A7 Paladin, the self-propelled 155 mm howitzer mounted on tracked chassis, providing mobile artillery that keeps pace with armored formations. With ranges exceeding 30 kilometers, using rocket-assisted projectiles and precision with Excalibur GPS-guided rounds, Paladins destroy targets from positions that remain mobile enough to avoid counter-battery fire. Artillery crews conduct shoot-and-scoot operations, emplace, fire mission, displace before enemy radar plots firing positions and returns fire. The A7 variant includes improved automotive components, digital fire control, and autoloaders that increase rate of fire. If you served in field artillery, you spent careers mastering fire missions, calling for fire, and coordinating indirect fires that destroyed enemy positions kilometers away from gun positions. M77A2, the lightweight towed 155 mm howitzer that helicopters can sling load and C-130s can transport, providing heavy artillery to airborne and light infantry units that self-propelled systems can't support. With digital fire control and compatibility with precision munitions, M777 guns provide fires in terrain where tracked vehicles can't operate. Titanium construction reduces weight enough that crews can manhandle guns short distances when helicopters can't land. M119, the 105 mm light howitzer that airborne and light infantry units operate for organic fires. Lighter and shorter range than 155 mm systems. These provide responsive fires without requiring heavy equipment. M120 mortar system, the 120 mm heavy mortar mounted on strikers, or towed, providing battalion-level indirect fires. These bridge the gap between 81 mm company mortars and 155 mm artillery, offering responsive fires that don't require calling higher echelons. M250 281 mm mortar, the medium mortar that infantry battalions carry for organic indirect fires. Light enough that soldiers can man-pack components, powerful enough to suppress enemy positions and destroy light vehicles. HIMARS, High Mobility Artillery Rocket System, the truck-mounted rocket launcher firing GPS-guided rockets and missiles at targets 70+ kilometers away, with accuracy measured in meters. HIMARS provides deep strike capability against enemy command posts, logistics nodes, and air defenses without requiring fixed artillery positions vulnerable to counter-battery. The shoot-and-scoot capability means launch, displace immediately, and survive. Ukraine's use of HIMARS against Russian forces demonstrated effectiveness against opponents who can't counter mobile precision fires. M270 MLRS, the tracked multiple launch rocket system carrying 12 rockets or 2 ATACMS missiles, providing massed fires or deep precision strikes. These saturate areas with submunitions or destroy point targets at ranges exceeding 300 kilometers, with ATACMS. M142 HIMARS, the wheeled variant carrying 6 rockets on FMTV trucks, trading payload for strategic mobility and rapid deployment. These can fly on C-100s to forward locations, conduct fire missions, and redeploy. Moving on to Army aviation that provides maneuver commanders with organic air power. H-6-4E Apache Guardian, the attack helicopter with tandem cockpit, longbow radar, Hellfire missiles, 70 mm rockets, and 30 mm chain gun. Apache crews provide close air support, destroy enemy armor, and conduct armed reconnaissance in coordination with ground forces. The longbow radar dome above the rotor mast allows fire-and-forget engagements. Apache positions behind terrain masking the fuselage, pops up to expose radar, acquires targets, launches Hellfire missiles, and drops back behind cover before enemy air defenses can respond. If you served in armor or mechanized infantry, Apache support meant enemy vehicles died before reaching engagement range. suppression fires that pinned defenders during assaults, and armed reconnaissance that found enemy positions. The Apache is old. Basic design dates to the 1980s, but continuous upgrades maintain capability against modern threats. Link 16 Daylink shares targeting data with ground forces, UAVs, and other aircraft, creating networked fires where one platform detects while another engages. UH-60 Blackhawk, the utility helicopter conducting troop transport, medical evacuation, command and control, and logistics across the battlespace. Blackhawks move infantry squads to objectives, evacuate casualties under fire, and conduct resupply missions when ground movement is too slow or dangerous. Multiple variants exist: medevac configuration with medical equipment and personnel, electronic warfare variants with jamming pods, and special operations variants with refueling probes and additional avionics. The Army operates over 2,000 Blackhawks in various configurations, making these the backbone of aviation mobility. CH-47F Chinook, the heavy-lift helicopter with tandem rotors carrying 3355 troops or 24,000 pounds of cargo slung underneath. Artillery raids, flying M777 howitzers to firing positions, conducting fire missions then extracting before enemy forces respond. Demonstrate Chinook capability. When ground convoys face IED threats or terrain restrictions, Chinooks fly supplies directly to forward operating bases. Afghanistan operations proved the value. Supplies reached mountain outposts that ground vehicles couldn't access, and casualty evacuation happened in minutes rather than hours of ground ambulance travel. UH-72 Lakota, the light utility helicopter conducting training, reconnaissance, and support missions in non-hostile environments. These are commercial helicopters militarized for Army use, providing cost-effective platforms for missions not requiring Black Hawk capability. AS-6 Little Bird, the light attack and reconnaissance helicopter that Special Operations Forces use for urban operations, close air support in restricted terrain, and direct action missions. With door-mounted machine guns and rocket pods, these provide fires in environments where Apache size becomes liability. MH-6 Little Bird, the Special Operations Transport variant carrying personnel on external benches for rapid insertion and extraction in confined landing zones where larger helicopters can't operate. MH-60 Blackhawk, Special Operations variants with terrain-following radar, refueling probes, advanced avionics, and defensive systems for conducting missions in hostile territory without support. MH-47 Chinook, the Special Operations heavy-lift variant with additional fuel tanks, defensive systems, and avionics for long-range infiltration and exfiltration missions. Moving on to air defense systems protecting Army forces from aerial threats. Patriot, the long-range air defense system, engaging aircraft and ballistic missiles with radar-guided interceptors. Patriot batteries position around high-value assets, providing area air defense that forces enemy aircraft to operate at altitudes and ranges where effectiveness suffers. Against ballistic missiles, Patriots engage during terminal phase as missiles descend toward targets. The system works. Gulf War, Iraq, and defensive operations have demonstrated capability despite publicized failures. Modern PAC. 3 variants include hit-to-kill missiles that destroy targets through kinetic impact rather than proximity warheads. THAAD, Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, the ballistic missile defense system engaging incoming missiles at higher altitudes than Patriot, providing layered defense where threats face multiple interception attempts. THAAD deployment to South Korea and Middle East demonstrates strategic importance of defending against ballistic missile threats. Avenger, the Humvee-mounted system carrying 8 Stinger missiles and .50 caliber machine gun for short-range air defense. These provide point defense against helicopters and low-flying aircraft, positioning near critical assets. Stinger Man pads, the shoulder-fired surface-to-air missile that individual soldiers carry for engaging helicopters and low-flying jets. Infantry units deploy with Stinger teams to threaten enemy aviation, forcing aircraft to operate at higher altitudes where accuracy degrades. IM SORAD, Interim Maneuver Short-Range Air Defense, the Striker-mounted air defense system, combining Stinger missiles, Hellfire missiles, 30mm cannon, and sensors for engaging drones, helicopters, and cruise missiles. This addresses the capability gap that emerged when previous SORAD systems were retired. Moving on to infantry weapons that arm soldiers. M4A1 Carbine, the 5.56mm rifle serving as standard Army infantry weapon. With 14.5-inch barrel, collapsible stock, and rails for mounting optics and accessories, M4s handle close-quarters combat and vehicle operations, while maintaining effective range for most engagements. Soldiers train on these from basic training through career, and most Army personnel qualify annually regardless of military occupational specialty. M1A2 Abrams, the full-length rifle variant with 20-inch barrel that provides better accuracy and velocity at distance. Designated marksmen and some units still operate these alongside M4 carbines. M249 SAW, squad automatic weapon, the belt-fed 5.56 mm light machine gun, providing automatic fire for infantry squads. These suppress enemy positions, provide covering fire during movement, and destroy light vehicles and structures. Reliability issues and weight have generated complaints from infantry who carry these, but replacement programs have struggled to field weapons that match capability. M240, the 7.62 mm medium machine gun, providing sustained automatic fire at ranges where 5.56 mm loses effectiveness. Infantry platoons, vehicle crews, and helicopter door gunners all operate M240s. If you qualified on M240, you remember the weight, 27 pounds unloaded, and the recoil that demands proper body position to control. M2.50 caliber, the heavy machine gun that's been in service since 1933, mounted on vehicles, aircraft, and fortifications. With effective range exceeding 1,800 meters and armor penetration capability, M2s destroy light vehicles, suppress enemy positions, and engage targets beyond rifle range. Mk19, the automatic grenade launcher firing 40 mm grenades in rapid succession. Vehicle-mounted, these provide area effect fires that suppress enemy positions and destroy light vehicles. M320, the 40 mm grenade launcher that attaches to rifles or operates standalone, providing squads with indirect fire capability against enemies in defilade. M1A2 the compact semi-automatic sniper system in 7.62 mm that provides precision fire to designated marksmen. Semi-automatic operation allows rapid follow-up shots that bolt-action rifles can't match. M2010, the bolt-action sniper rifle, chambered in .300 Winchester Magnum for precision fire at ranges exceeding 1,000 meters. Sniper teams use these to engage high-value targets from positions where return fire is difficult. Beret M107, the .50 caliber anti-material rifle that destroys equipment, vehicles, and engages targets at extreme range. These aren't primarily anti-personnel weapons. They disable radar systems, destroy vehicles, and hit targets over a mile away. M136AT4, the disposable 84 mm rocket launcher providing soldiers with anti-tank and anti-structure capability in throwaway package. Light enough that riflemen carry these in addition to primary weapons. Powerful enough to defeat most armored vehicles and destroy fortifications. FGM-148 Javelin, the fire-and-forget anti-tank missile that destroys enemy armor from 2+ kilometers away. Top attack flight profile hits tanks where armor is weakest, and autonomous guidance means launch and take cover while missile homes without additional input. CLU, Command Launch Unit, provides thermal imaging for target acquisition day or night. Against modern tanks with composite armor and active protection, Javelin remains effective because top attack bypasses frontal armor and fires from positions tanks struggle to return fire against. BGM-71 Tau, the wire-guided anti-tank missile mounted on vehicles and ground launchers, engaging armor at ranges exceeding 3,000 meters. Older than Javelin, these require gunners to guide missiles to target throughout flight, keeping launchers exposed. Carl Gustaf M3, the reusable 84 mm recoilless rifle firing multiple ammunition types, high explosive, anti-tank, illumination, smoke. Infantry teams use these for bunker busting and engaging armored vehicles. Moving on to enablers that multiply combat power. Gray Eagle, the Army's medium-altitude long-endurance drone, conducting reconnaissance, surveillance, and strike missions. With Hellfire missiles and multi-day endurance, Gray Eagles provide persistent coverage of battle space and precision strike capability that doesn't require manned aircraft. Operators control these from ground stations, hundreds or thousands of miles from operating areas. Shadow, the tactical unmanned aircraft system, providing brigade-level reconnaissance. Launched from catapults and recovered using arresting cables, Shadows conduct missions lasting 5 to 6 hours. Raven, the small hand-launched drone that platoons and companies operate for immediate reconnaissance. These provide organic intelligence without requiring higher echelon support, though limited endurance and payload restrict capability. Switchblade, the loitering munition that combines reconnaissance, drone, and precision strike weapon. Operators fly these to target areas, identify targets using onboard cameras, and crash the explosive-laden drone into targets. These provide infantry with organic precision strike capability. Palantir, the data analytics and intelligence platform that integrates information from drones, signals intelligence, human intelligence, and open-source data into actionable intelligence. While not a weapon system, intelligence superiority allows targeting that makes physical weapons effective. Moving on to logistics and support vehicles. The truck family conducting cargo transport, fuel delivery, and logistics missions. Without functional logistics, combat forces run out of ammunition, fuel, and supplies within days. FMTV trucks aren't glamorous, but wars are won by logistics that keep combat forces supplied. HEMTT, Heavy Expanded Mobility Tactical Truck, the 8x8 heavy truck conducting bulk fuel transport, ammunition resupply, and heavy cargo missions. These haul the weight that smaller trucks can't manage. PLS, palletized load system. The truck, with automated load handling system that loads and unloads cargo pallets without requiring cranes or forklifts. These provide rapid logistics in forward areas. LMTV, light medium tactical vehicle, the smaller truck for cargo and personnel transport in units where FMTV size is excessive. Oshkosh MATV, the MRAP, mine-resistant ambush-protected, vehicle designed to survive IED blasts that destroyed Humvees in Iraq and Afghanistan. V-shaped hulls deflect explosions away from crew compartments, and heavy armor provides protection against small arms and fragments. Against peer adversaries, the question becomes whether vehicles designed for counterinsurgency remain relevant when threats include anti-tank missiles and artillery rather than roadside bombs.